So, Cardinal Chan, how were you called to live a life serving God?
Well, I never thought that I was going to become a priest, but something changed in 2016, I think, when Trump was elected as president. It just seemed from there that, like, nothing was going to be the same, and so everything was just going to go downhill. So I decided to try to continue going down my path, going through college and to start a family. But I always felt empty, like I could do something more, and people needed help. So I felt that the only way I could help them was through God, because God helps us all the time. So I entered the seminary after I graduated from college, and I loved being a priest. It was great, because I got to meet with everyone, and that's like the good thing about church is like the community is really strong. So I imagined for greater things, and I wanted to meet more people and change more lives. So I became a bishop. And so as the Bishop of Texas, I met more people, obviously. And I didn't really expect to do any more than that, but eventually I was nominated to become cardinal. And I really wasn't expecting that, but it was the will of God, and because of him and because of Trump, I wouldn't be here talking to you.
So, how would a bishop become a cardinal?
So there's no test really to become cardinal. Like, I didn't go through any tests. Cardinal is kind of something that's a surprise. Really, the Pope just chooses whoever he wants. He doesn't have to or a bishop wouldn't have to go through any tests or anything.
Could you tell us a little bit about the process in which cardinals elect a new pope?
Well, of course, the Pope is elected after the previous Pope dies, so about 15 to 20 days after the Pope dies, the cardinals that are eligible to elect a Pope go to St. Peter's Basilica first for Mass, and there they ask the Holy Spirit for guidance. And then after that, they proceed to the Sistine Chapel, where they swear an oath of absolute secrecy before they enter. And after they enter, they're locked in there and they can't leave. They can't share anything with anyone. There's no outside contact until after a Pope is elected. So each of the cardinals writes down a name on a piece of paper, and they drop into a chalice. And so there are 4 rounds of balloting every day, and the results are counted out loud, and 3 specific cardinals write down the results. And if no one receives 2/3 of all the votes, then they vote again. And the cardinal, or one of the cardinals, throws the votes into a fire, and there are chemicals in there that produce black smoke. So on TV, when you see black smoke, that's what's happening. They haven't found an actual pope yet, and they're still voting. But when someone does receive 2/3 of the votes, the dean of the College of Cardinals asks that cardinal if he's willing to become pope. And if he accepts the position, then the dean leads him out onto the balcony and dresses him in papal garments and announces him as the new pope. And chemicals are mixed with the votes to produce white smoke, which is the smoke that you see on TV.
So, Cardinal, could you tell us a little bit about your vocation story?
Sure. So, as a child growing up, I was raised a Catholic my whole life. I never missed Sunday Mass. That was a huge part of my life growing up and a part of my education too. My parents served our parish in a faithful and charitable way that really affected me and inspired me and led me down the path to my vocation that I've discovered now. In high school, I was involved in my school's community, in my youth group, all kinds of stuff like that, extracurriculars, everything I could get into. I didn't really think this was going to lead to the priesthood, but I could tell that there was a fire burning inside. So towards the middle of my junior year, I decided to look at the seminary, and I applied for the seminary. And I got in, and so I decided that that's what I want to do with the rest of my life. So I entered the seminary straight out of high school, ordained at the age of 26. 15 years later, I was ordained a bishop, and now today I'm 65 years old, and I'm a cardinal.
Speaking about cardinals, could you walk us through the different tiers of cardinals' work?
So the College of Cardinals is broken into 3 ranks: cardinal bishops, cardinal priests, and cardinal deacons. Generally, the cardinal bishops and deacons are members of the Roman Curia, with the cardinal priests being the senior archbishops of the world. Cardinal bishops are members of the highest order within the College of Cardinals. From among their number, they elect the dean of the college, who presides over its meetings and elections of a new pope. Cardinal priests are the senior archbishops of the world, each having a title of an ancient diocese of Rome. So they're part of the apostolic succession. Cardinal deacons hold the lowest rank of the cardinals. They are members of the Roman Curia and theologians who have been honored by the Pope for their contribution to the Church.
So, what's the significance of the attire that cardinals wear?
So usually cardinals will wear red robes, and this color of red signifies the color of blood, of course, and it also symbolizes their commitment to defend the Catholic Church at all costs, including martyrdom. There's also a little bit of significance there, meaning sacrifice, and their sacrifice to not only the priesthood, but to serve their community in a greater way as cardinals, including electing the new pope, serving as archbishops, administrators in the Vatican, all kinds of things.
So why did you become a cardinal?
So, it's a long story, but to put it short, I never actually had the intention of ever becoming a priest or anything higher. I actually got a master's in business in college and started my own company, and it was pretty successful, but I always felt that there was something lacking in my life. Like I wasn't truly happy. And so I looked to God. I looked to prayer, and I always prayed. I prayed every night that God would tell me what to do so that I could fully become happy. And for some reason I thought, why don't I go to the seminary? And I did, and it was the best experience of my life. I became a priest, and it was amazing. And then I got promoted to a bishop, and I thought, this is awesome. I'm truly happy now. And then I got elected by the Pope to become a cardinal, and here I am today.
So what is the main role of a cardinal?
The main role of cardinals is to elect the Pope and assist them like cabinet members to the president. Cardinals form a small group called the Roman Curia, who are the Pope's cabinet, well, kind of the Pope's cabinet members.
Do all cardinals do the same job?
Not necessarily. Some oversee certain areas of the church called congregations. One may oversee all the bishops, others look over Catholic education, and there are 3 degrees within the College of Cardinals, which all the cardinals are a part of. There are the cardinal priests, bishops, and deacons. There are only 6 cardinal bishops. Each cardinal bishop overlooks a church in the suburbs of Rome and work in the Roman Curia. Cardinal deacons, also called the Pope's cabinet, work full-time in the Roman Curia. Cardinal priests are cardinals who serve outside of Rome. Those not working in the Curia overlook an archdiocese, fulfilling the duties a normal bishop would fulfill.
How are cardinals elected, and what do they do on a daily basis?
In order to become a cardinal, clergy have to be Roman Catholic priests. The 1918 Code of Canon Law decreed that all cardinals must be priests, and since 1962, all cardinals have to be bishops. As well as electing their leader, cardinals also act as a source of information and advice to the Pope. They are his advisors, counselors, friends, and as well as his eyes and ears around the world. They also heed various congregations within the Roman Curia, the administrative body of the Vatican.